Hello, and welcome to History for Sleep. Tonight's video is a long, calm journey into daily life in medieval Europe, not through wars or kings, but through ordinary mornings, quiet work, simple homes, and peaceful nights. Over the next 2 hours, we will move slowly through medieval villages, farms, workshops, and homes, following the natural rhythm of life from dawn to nightfall. This documentary is designed for sleep, relaxation, quiet study, or peaceful background listening. Before we begin, I'd like to ask something simple that truly helps this channel grow. If you enjoy calm history and would like to support more videos like this, please consider liking this video and subscribing to Cinematic History for Sleep. And if you feel comfortable, I would love to know where you are watching from and what time it is for you right now. Leave your location and local time in the comments. Your messages help create a quiet connection across the world, across different nights, different mornings, and different moments in time. Now, let's slow everything down and gently step into the early morning of a medieval European village. As dawn slowly approaches a medieval European village, the world does not wake suddenly. It stirs gently in stages, guided by light, sound, and habit rather than clocks. There is no exact hour for morning. Time is sensed, not measured. The sky lightens gradually, and the long night begins to loosen its hold. The first sounds are subtle, a distant rooster, the soft shifting of animals within wooden shelters, wind moving through thatched roofs. Most people wake not because they choose to, but because daylight demands it. In medieval Europe, there are no mechanical clocks regulating daily life for most people. Time is understood through nature, routine, and religious rhythm. Day is divided loosely into phases: dawn, morning, midday, evening, and night. These divisions are flexible, changing with the seasons. In winter, mornings arrive late and reluctantly. In summer, dawn comes early, sometimes before the body is ready. For villagers, time belongs to the sun. Inside a small peasant house, the interior is dim. The hearth fire has burned low during the night, leaving embers beneath ash. The first task of the day is often to revive the fire. Without it, the house remains cold and dark. A woman kneels near the hearth, blowing gently, adding dried wood or peat. Smoke curls upward, escaping slowly through gaps in the roof. The home is shared space. Parents, children, sometimes extended family, all sleep in the same room, often on straw mattresses or wooden benches. Privacy, as we understand it, does not exist. Clothing is practical and limited. A simple linen shirt or wool tunic is pulled on, often the same garment worn the day before. Clothes are valuable. They are repaired repeatedly, passed down through generations. In colder months, layers are added: cloaks, woolen wraps, thick hose. In warmer seasons, fewer layers are worn, but modesty remains important. Dressing is not a ritual of expression. It is a necessity. Animals are among the first to greet the morning. Chickens cluck and move within small enclosures. Cows shift their weight, waiting to be milked. Sheep and goats stir quietly. These animals are not pets. They are essential companions in survival. Milking often happens early before the day's labor begins. Milk will be consumed fresh, turned into cheese, or mixed into simple meals. As the sky grows brighter, the village itself seems to inhale. Doors open slowly. People step outside, stretching stiff limbs, adjusting to the light. Paths between houses are unpaved, worn smooth by years of use. Mud is common, especially after rain. Children are already awake. Some help with small tasks, others simply observe. Childhood in medieval Europe is short. Responsibility arrives early. Soon, a sound carries across the village, the church bell. This bell does not announce an exact time. It signals order. For many, it marks the beginning of work. For others, it calls them to morning prayer. The church stands at the heart of the village, both physically and socially. Its presence shapes daily rhythm more than any ruler or law. Faith is not separate from life. It is woven into it. Most villagers cannot read. Literacy is rare outside clergy, monks, and some town artisans. Knowledge is passed through memory, repetition, and observation. A father teaches a son how to handle tools. A mother shows a daughter how to prepare grain or tend fire. These lessons are quiet and continuous. As the sun clears the horizon, work begins in earnest. Fields wait. Animals need care. Homes require maintenance. There is little choice in the matter. Survival depends on routine. Work is slow, physical, and repetitive. Tools are simple, often handmade. Yet there is familiarity in these movements. Gestures repeated daily, year after year. Despite hardship, there is little sense of hurry. No one is rushing toward deadlines measured in minutes. There are no schedules pinned to walls. The pace of life is slower, shaped by daylight, weather, and human endurance. This slowness allows for observation. People notice the sky. They sense changes in air and light. Morning is not just the start of labor. It is a transition from darkness to light, from rest to effort. As the medieval village fully awakens, the day unfolds not with urgency, but with acceptance. This rhythm, steady, repetitive, and deeply human, will guide every hour that follows. In medieval Europe, survival is rooted in the land. Fields, seasons, and weather shape every decision, every routine, every hope. Farming is not a profession chosen from many options. It is the foundation of life itself. The agricultural year does not begin in January. It begins with the soil. In early spring, as frost retreats and daylight lengthens, villagers prepare their fields. Tools are simple: wooden plows tipped with iron, hoes shaped by local craftsmen, baskets woven from reeds. Oxen pull plows slowly across the earth. Each furrow is shallow, careful, and repeated. Work is shared. Neighbors help one another, bound by necessity rather than contract. There is no protection from weather, no irrigation systems beyond ditches and channels, no forecasts beyond observation. Rain is welcomed, but too much brings rot. Drought threatens hunger. Villagers learn to read signs, cloud formations, wind direction, the behavior of birds. These observations are not superstition. They are practical knowledge accumulated over generations. The primary crop across much of medieval Europe is grain. Wheat, rye, barley, and oats dominate the fields, chosen based on climate and soil. Grain becomes bread, porridge, and beer, staples of daily nourishment. Vegetable gardens supplement diets with cabbage, onions, leeks, peas, and beans. Meat is consumed less frequently. Livestock is valuable for labor, milk, wool, and manure. Spring brings planting and cautious optimism. Summer demands endurance, long hours under the sun, constant vigilance against weeds and pests. Autumn carries urgency. Harvest must be completed before rain or frost arrives. Winter is survival. Stored food is rationed carefully. Work shifts indoors. Each season has its tasks, its anxieties, its quiet satisfactions. Harvest is the most critical moment of the year. Entire villages participate. Men, women, and children gather crops with sickles, binding sheaves by hand. The work is repetitive and physical, but it carries relief. A good harvest means security. A poor one means hardship. Grain is stored in barns or communal granaries. Loss to moisture or pests is a constant risk. Grain must be processed before it can be eaten. Threshing separates grain from stalk. Winnowing removes chaff. Grinding is labor-intensive. Hand mills require strength and time. Bread is baked in communal ovens or household hearths. Each loaf represents hours of work. Animals are central to farming life. Oxen and horses provide power. Cows offer milk. Sheep supply wool. Animals are carefully managed, not sentimentalized. Winter fodder is precious. Weak animals may not survive until spring. Most medieval farmers do not own the land they work. They are tenants, bound by agreements to local lords. Rent may be paid in labor, crops, or coin. These obligations are demanding but expected. Farming is never isolated from social structure. Religion permeates agricultural life. Planting and harvest are accompanied by prayers. Saints are invoked for rain, protection, and fertility. Success is attributed to divine favor as much as human effort. At the end of a long day, exhaustion is physical and complete. Hands ache, muscles stiffen. Evening meals are simple. Rest is welcomed. There is little energy for reflection or complaint. Tomorrow the land will demand attention again. In medieval Europe, farming is not merely work. It is existence itself, shaped by soil, sustained by effort, and governed by the quiet authority of the seasons. Medieval homes are not designed for comfort as we understand it today. They are built for shelter, warmth, and survival. Every structure reflects the limits of available materials, local climate, and communal knowledge. Most village homes are constructed using what lies nearby. Wooden frames form the skeleton of the house. Walls are filled with wattle, woven branches, and daub, a mixture of clay, straw, and dung. Roofs are thatched with straw or reeds. They insulate well but require regular maintenance. Stone houses exist, but they are rare outside towns and monasteries. Construction is communal. Neighbors assist one another, exchanging labor rather than payment. At the heart of the medieval home is the hearth. This fire provides warmth, light, and a place to cook. There is no chimney in most houses. Smoke rises and escapes through gaps in the roof. This smoke darkens walls and ceilings, leaving a permanent scent of wood and ash. Eyes sting. Lungs adapt. Beds are simple. Straw-filled sacks, wooden frames, or benches serve as sleeping surfaces. Blankets are shared. Privacy is minimal. Families sleep together in the same room. Sleep follows the rhythm of daylight. People retire early and often wake briefly during the night before sleeping again. Much of daily labor occurs within the home. Women grind grain, prepare meals, mend clothing, and care for children. These tasks are repetitive and physically demanding. There is no concept of leisure time separate from work. domestic labor is constant. Children are not sheltered from work. They observe, imitate, and assist from an early age. By the age of 7, many children contribute meaningfully to household labor. Formal education is rare in villages. Learning occurs through observation and repetition. Villages are compact. Homes cluster together, often near a church or common space. Paths connect dwellings, fields, wells, and communal ovens. There is little separation between public and private life. Community is unavoidable. Household objects are few and functional. Wooden bowls, clay pots, iron knives. Every object serves a purpose. When something breaks, it is repaired. Nothing is discarded casually. Cleanliness exists within limits. Bathing is infrequent, often seasonal. Water is carried from wells or streams. Waste disposal is rudimentary. Disease spreads easily, though its causes are poorly understood. After dark, light is precious. Candles are expensive and reserved for special use. Most homes rely on hearth light or simple oil lamps. Activities slow. Night limits productivity. Domestic life is defined by repetition. Meals prepared daily. Clothing mended repeatedly. Tools maintained constantly. There is comfort in familiarity. Stability is valued over change. Within these simple walls, medieval life unfolds quietly, not through dramatic events, but through small, repeated actions that sustain families and communities across generations. Not all medieval life unfolds in villages. Across Europe, towns slowly emerge as centers of craft, exchange, and specialized labor. These towns are not planned in advance. They grow organically, shaped by geography, trade routes, and necessity. A river crossing, a monastery, a fortified hill. Where people gather, work follows. Medieval towns are dense. Houses lean toward narrow streets. Upper floors extend outward, casting shadows below. Streets are uneven, often muddy, sometimes paved with stone. There is no separation between living and working spaces. Shops open directly onto the street. Work spills outward, visible, audible, constant. Craftsmanship is the backbone of urban life. Unlike farmers, craftsmen specialize. A blacksmith shapes iron daily. A cobbler works leather. A cooper builds barrels. Skill is accumulated slowly, through repetition. There are no shortcuts. Craft knowledge is not written down. It is transferred directly from master to apprentice. Children enter apprenticeships as young as 12. They live in the master's household. They work long hours. Payment is not monetary. Training itself is the reward. Mistakes are corrected through demonstration, not explanation. Guilds regulate craft life. They control training, quality, prices, and membership. Each craft has its own guild. Guild rules are strict, but they offer protection. A craftsman belongs to a community defined by skill. Guild membership provides identity. A man is known by his craft. Status comes not from wealth alone, but from mastery. Reputation matters. Poor work harms not just the individual, but the guild. Workshops are small and crowded. Tools hang from walls. Materials are stored overhead. Light comes from windows and open doors. Fire is ever present for forging, cooking, heating. Danger is constant. Injuries are common. Towns are loud. Hammers strike metal. Saws cut wood. Animals move through streets. Smells are layered. Smoke, leather, food, waste. This sensory overload is normal. It fades into the background of daily life. Markets anchor town life. Weekly markets draw villagers from surrounding areas. Goods are exchanged, not merely sold. Coins exist, but barter remains common. Trust is local. Faces are familiar. Urban diets differ slightly from rural ones. Bread remains central. Craftsmen purchase food rather than produce it. Markets supply grain, vegetables, fish, and meat. Food quality varies. Scarcity is always a possibility. Town councils oversee daily life. Rules govern weights, measures, and trade. Punishments are public. Order is visible. Authority is present but localized. Towns experience time differently. Church bells regulate work hours. Markets open and close at set times. Urban life introduces a more structured sense of day. This marks a shift from village rhythms. Literacy is slightly more common in towns. Merchants keep records. Contracts appear. Written language begins to shape economic life. But most learning remains oral. As daylight fades, workshops close. Streets empty slowly. Candles appear in windows. Taverns fill quietly. Conversation replaces labor. Town life offers opportunity, but it also brings risk. Crowding increases disease. Fire spreads quickly. Yet towns endure. They represent adaptation. In medieval towns, labor becomes identity. Skill defines status, and daily life, though demanding, carries a sense of belonging shaped by craft and community. Guilds are not only economic institutions, they are social, moral, and cultural structures. Each guild follows a set of rituals that reinforce identity and hierarchy. Meetings are held regularly, often in guild halls or church-adjacent spaces. Attendance is expected. Participation confirms belonging. These gatherings are calm, procedural, and formal. Rules are read aloud. Disputes are resolved. Standards are reinforced. Silence carries authority. Guild ceremonies are modest. There are no grand displays. A candle is lit. A prayer is spoken. Members stand quietly. These rituals remind craftsmen that their work carries responsibility. Skill is not personal property alone. It belongs to the guild. Women participate actively in medieval labor. In towns, women work as spinners, weavers, brewers, bakers, and vendors. In some crafts, wives and daughters assist directly within family workshops. Widows may inherit businesses. In textile production especially, women's labor is essential. This work is constant, skilled, and undervalued in records. Much production occurs within homes. Cloth is woven indoors. Food is prepared and sold. Boundaries between domestic and commercial life are blurred. Work follows the household, not the clock. To advance within a guild requires time. An apprentice becomes a journeyman only after years of work. Journeymen travel between towns, gaining experience. This movement spreads the techniques across regions. Eventually, mastery is achieved. Becoming a master requires proof of skill. The masterpiece is not art in the modern sense. It is a demonstration of competence. A flawless shoe, a balanced piece of metalwork, a carefully measured cloth. This object proves readiness. The guild judges quietly. Approval is rare and deliberate. Guilds limit competition. They restrict entry to protect quality and livelihood. This limits innovation, but preserves stability. In a fragile economy, stability matters more than novelty. Craft knowledge is embodied. It lives in hands, posture, and repetition. There are no manuals. There is muscle memory. Learning is slow, but retention is deep. Town life introduces hierarchy beyond land ownership. Merchants rise in influence. Craft masters hold local authority. Social position is visible in clothing, housing, and speech. But class mobility remains limited. Town communities balance cooperation and competition. Guilds protect their own. But rivalries exist. Conflicts arise over territory, customers, and influence. These tensions are managed through councils and compromise. As evening approaches, workshops quiet. Tools are cleaned. Materials stored. The pace slows. Work ends not at a fixed hour, but when light fades. Within the guild system, medieval towns create order from specialization. Skill becomes structure, and labor shapes identity. Beyond towns and markets, another form of labor exists, quieter, more contained, and deeply disciplined. Monasteries stand apart from daily urban noise. High stone walls separate these spaces from the rhythms of town life. Inside, work continues, not for profit, but for order. In monastic life, labor is prayer. Work is not separate from faith. It is a form of discipline. Each task, no matter how small, is performed with intention. Silence is common. Speech is limited. Within monasteries, scribes copy texts by hand. These rooms, known as scriptoria, are quiet and controlled. Light enters through narrow windows. Parchment rests on wooden desks. Ink is prepared carefully. Letters are formed slowly, deliberately. Mistakes are costly. Monastic time is regulated by prayer. Bells signal movement from one activity to another. Work, prayer, rest, repeated daily. This rhythm shapes the body and the mind. Some manuscripts are decorated with care. Gold leaf, pigments, and intricate designs appear. These images are not indulgent. They serve spiritual purpose. Beauty reinforces devotion. Monasteries are not only centers of writing. Monks farm land, brew beer, bind books, and repair tools. These crafts are practical. They sustain the community. Monastic buildings reflect discipline. Layouts are simple, functional. Spaces are repeated. Order is visible in stone. Monasteries preserve techniques, agricultural methods, architectural knowledge, medical practices. This knowledge moves slowly beyond walls. Monastic communities aim for self-sufficiency. Gardens provide food. Workshops supply tools. Dependency is minimized. Compared to town life, monasteries move slowly. There is no market urgency, no competition, only continuity. As daylight fades, silence deepens. Candles are lit. Voices soften. Work ends not with exhaustion, but with stillness. Within monasteries, craft becomes contemplation. Labor becomes prayer, and repetition becomes peace. As daylight fades, medieval towns do not stop abruptly. They soften. Workshops close one by one. Doors are pulled shut. Tools are stored. The noise of labor recedes. What remains is movement without urgency. As evening arrives, firelight becomes central. Hearths glow inside homes. Candles appear in windows. Light is warm, limited, and shared. Darkness is not feared, but respected. Taverns serve a quiet function in town life. They are not places of excess as often imagined. They are spaces of warmth, conversation, and rest. Beer is safer than water. Wine is diluted. Drink is modest. Voices remain low. Stories are familiar. News travels slowly. There is little need for urgency. Tomorrow will resemble today. Games appear, dice, boards, simple contests. Music may be played. A lute, a flute. These sounds are soft, brief. They do not compete with night. There is no performance, no audience. Leisure is informal. Belonging is quiet. As night deepens, people return to their homes. Streets grow emptier. Footsteps fade. Dogs settle. The town exhales. Beds are prepared. Fires are banked. Doors are secured. Prayers may be whispered. Sleep arrives naturally. Night is not resisted. It is accepted. Tomorrow will come. This assurance allows rest. Without artificial light, the world rests. Darkness enforces stillness. Stillness brings recovery. The day has completed its arc. Labor has shaped identity. Community has reinforced belonging. The night closes gently. In medieval towns, the end of the day is not dramatic. It is calm, familiar, and expected. And within this quiet closure, life continues, steady, resilient, and deeply human. In medieval Europe, food is never taken for granted. It is not entertainment. It is not abundance. It is survival. Every meal carries memory of labor, of uncertainty, of weather endured, and seasons survived. In a medieval household, food shapes the rhythm of thought itself. What will we eat today? How much remains? How long must it last? These questions repeat quietly, day after day. There is no concept of eating without consequence. Every bite represents work already done or work still required. Even in good years, abundance is fragile. A single failed harvest can echo for months. Storage is limited. Preservation methods are basic. Rot, mold, pests, and moisture threaten supplies constantly. This awareness creates restraint. Food is eaten slowly. Waste is rare. Bread is the cornerstone of the medieval diet. It appears at nearly every meal. For the poor, it may be the only food. Bread varies greatly in quality. The wealthy consume fine white bread made from wheat. Peasants eat darker loaves, rye, barley, or mixed grains. These breads are dense, filling, and sustaining. Flavor comes from necessity, not indulgence. Salt is precious. Herbs are gathered locally. Spices exist, but they are rare and costly. For most people, food tastes familiar, repetitive, and grounding. This repetition is comforting. Medieval homes do not contain kitchens as we know them. Cooking happens at the hearth. Pots hang from hooks. Food simmers slowly. Fire is unpredictable. Meals are adapted to heat, fuel, and daylight. Firewood is labor. Gathering fuel consumes time and energy. Fire is carefully managed. Large flames are unnecessary. Slow heat conserves resources. This encourages stews, porridges, and soups. The stew is the perfect medieval meal. It accepts variation. It stretches ingredients. It cooks slowly. Vegetables, grains, scraps of meat, all can be combined. The pot simmers for hours. Flavor deepens. Nourishment is preserved. Vegetables form the backbone of daily meals. Cabbage, leeks, onions, beans, turnips. These grow easily. They store reasonably well. They provide sustenance. They are not glamorous. They are dependable. Meat is consumed sparingly. For peasants, it is rare. For townspeople, occasional. For the elite, more frequent. Livestock represents wealth. Killing an animal is a serious decision. When meat is eaten, it is used fully. Fish occupies a special role. Religious fasting days prohibit meat. Fish becomes the alternative. Rivers, lakes, and coastal waters supply sustenance. Dried and salted fish are traded widely. Beer is not merely a beverage. It is nourishment. Low-alcohol beer is consumed daily. It is safer than water. It provides calories. Children drink it. Everyone drinks it. Water is unpredictable. Wells may be contaminated. Streams may carry waste. Boiled liquids reduce danger. Thus, beer and broth become safer choices. Food is tied to morality. Gluttony is condemned. Moderation is praised. Fasting is spiritual discipline. Eating is never neutral. Evening meals are modest. After long labor, hunger is quiet but present. Food brings comfort. Warmth follows. Silence settles. In medieval Europe, eating is not indulgence. It is reassurance. A reminder that today, survival continues. Bread does not begin in the oven. It begins long before, in fields, hands, and time. Grain must travel through many stages before it becomes food. Each stage adds labor. Each stage introduces risk. After harvest, grain is gathered, dried, and stored. Bundles are carried to barns or granaries. These spaces are dark, cool, and vulnerable. Moisture can ruin months of work. Rodents and insects are constant threats. Storage is watched carefully. Grain represents the future. Threshing separates grain from straw. Bundles are beaten with flails. The work is rhythmic and repetitive. Dust rises. Chaff fills the air. After threshing comes winnowing. Grain is tossed into the air so wind can carry away lighter material. This process requires patience and weather. No wind means delay. Grinding grain by hand is exhausting. Hand mills exist, but they are slow. Most communities rely on mills. Mills are powered by water or wind. They stand near rivers or open plains. Villagers bring grain to be ground. Waiting is common. Watermills are among the most important technologies of medieval Europe. They convert natural force into sustained power. The wheel turns steadily. Stones grind continuously. This reduces human labor. It increases efficiency. Access to a mill can define a settlement's survival. Mills are often controlled by local lords. Peasants are required to use the lord's mill. A portion of grain is taken as payment. This system is resented but unavoidable. Grinding at home may be forbidden. Bread carries social structure within it. Flour varies by fineness. White flour requires repeated sifting. This removes bran. It produces softer bread. It is expensive. Coarser flour remains common. Dark bread fills stomachs. It sustains bodies. Most households do not have ovens. Bread is baked in communal ovens. These ovens serve many families. They are heated once, then used continuously. Timing matters. Dough is prepared in advance. Loaves are marked to identify owners. Baking is not instant. Ovens cool gradually. Heat must be judged. Experience matters. Burning wastes grain. Undercooking risks illness. Bread measures the day. A loaf may last several meals. It is broken, not sliced. It accompanies soup, cheese, or stew. Stale bread is softened. Nothing is discarded. People identify by the bread they eat. White bread signals status. Dark bread signals endurance. Bread becomes language. Thoughts of bread persist. Is there enough? Will it last? This awareness never fully leaves. At night, bread reassures. It is tangible. It exists. It promises tomorrow. In medieval Europe, bread is not food alone. It is time, labor, and survival made visible. Food moves people. It draws them out of homes and fields. It gathers them in shared spaces. It shapes conversation, trust, and exchange. In medieval Europe, the market is not merely a place to buy and sell. It is the visible heart of communal life. Most towns possess a central open space. This space may be irregular in shape. It may slope gently. It may be bordered by shops, churches, or guild halls. On market days, this space transforms. Stalls appear. Baskets are set down. Voices rise softly. The town becomes present to itself. Markets do not operate daily everywhere. Weekly markets are common. Larger towns host more frequent gatherings. These days are anticipated. Food procurement is planned around them. Market day shapes the week. Food dominates the market. Grain, vegetables, cheese, fish, occasionally meat. Preserved goods are common. Freshness is relative. Season dictates availability. Markets require trust. Scales and measures are visible. Authorities regulate size, weight, and price. False measures are punished publicly. Trust is maintained through familiarity. Faces repeat week after week. Coins exist, but they are limited. Small denominations are scarce. Barter remains common. Grain for cloth. Cheese for tools. Labor for food. Value is negotiated. Nothing is abstract. Some foods travel farther than others. Salt moves across regions. Dried fish travels inland. Wine follows river routes. These trade networks connect distant communities. Food becomes a carrier of geography. Salt deserves special attention. It preserves meat. It flavors bland food. It sustains life. Salt sources are limited. Control of salt equals control of survival. Salt trade shapes power. Dairy products are transformed to last. Milk spoils quickly. Cheese endures. Butter is salted. These products move through markets. They represent planning. Fish markets thrive on religious rhythm. Fasting days increase demand. Fish replaces meat. Fresh, dried, and salted fish circulate. Religion shapes trade. Producers often sell their own goods. Farmers bring surplus. Women sell prepared food. Children assist. Market participation is family labor. Markets are social stages. Clothing is observed. Status is inferred. Food purchases reveal position. What one buys and how much is noticed. Markets carry news. Stories travel with goods. Information spreads slowly, but reliably. The market becomes a node of knowledge. Authorities oversee markets. Food quality is inspected. Spoiled goods are confiscated. Moral language surrounds food. Cheating is sin. Fair trade is virtue. As afternoon fades, stalls empty. Goods are packed. Leftovers are sold cheaply or carried home. The square empties. The town exhales again. Markets reveal hierarchy. Who sells? Who buys? Who watches? Food becomes structure. It connects survival to society. In medieval Europe, markets do more than distribute food. They distribute belonging. Through exchange, people reaffirm their place within the social fabric. In medieval Europe, food reveals position. It does not need to be announced. It is seen. It is tasted. It is understood. Meals quietly communicate who a person is, where they belong, and what resources surround them. In noble households, food is abundant by comparison. Large kitchens operate daily. Multiple servants prepare meals. Fire burns constantly. Ingredients arrive from surrounding lands. Storage rooms hold grain, wine, salt, and preserved meats. Scarcity still exists, but distance from it is visible. Meat appears frequently. Beef, pork, mutton, game from forests. Hunting privileges restrict access. Venison is not merely food. It is status. Meat is roasted, not stewed. Presentation matters. Spices define distinction. Pepper, cloves, cinnamon. These arrive through long trade routes. They are expensive. They flavor food lightly, but signify wealth heavily. To taste spice is to taste distance. Wine is common in noble households. It is diluted. It is shared. Quality varies. Serving vessels matter. Cups reflect hierarchy. Meals follow strict order. The Lord sits highest. Guests are placed carefully. Servants stand. Children observe. Eating reinforces hierarchy. Bread quality signals class. White bread is soft. Dark bread is dense. The table reveals a distinction without words. Default text. In peasant homes, meals are simpler. Stews dominate. Vegetables and grains fill bowls. Meat is rare. When present, it is shared. Eating is communal. A single pot feeds the household. It simmers all day. Ingredients are added gradually. Nothing is wasted. Flavor builds slowly. Plates are wooden or shared. Spoons are common. Knives serve multiple purposes. Hands are used. This is normal. Peasants are aware of noble diets. They see feasts. They hear stories. This awareness does not always produce resentment. It produces understanding. Religion tempers inequality. Fasting days reduce difference. Everyone eats simply. This shared restraint reinforces order. Festivals allow temporary abundance. Extra bread. Special dishes. These moments are rare. They are remembered. Most people accept their place. Change is slow. Expectation is limited. Food teaches patience. After eating, conversation slows. Bodies relax. Warmth settles. The day recedes. In medieval Europe, food does not challenge hierarchy. It reflects it, quietly, consistently, and without explanation. In medieval Europe, food is never only physical nourishment. It carries moral weight. What a person eats, and when, is understood as a reflection of inner discipline. Religion at the center of daily life. Faith structures the medieval calendar. Days are marked not only by work, but by worship. Religious observance shapes eating habits as strongly as hunger does. The Church does not simply advise, it organizes. Fasting days are frequent. Meat is prohibited on certain days of the week. During Lent, restrictions intensify. Feast and fast alternate. This rhythm teaches restraint. On fasting days, fish replaces meat. This distinction is theological, not nutritional. Fish is considered cold and restrained. It aligns with humility. Markets adjust. Rivers and coasts gain importance. Simple food is praised. Plain bread. Thin soups. Boiled vegetables. These are not signs of poverty alone. They signal moral correctness. Overeating is condemned. Gluttony appears among the 7 deadly sins. To eat excessively is to lack control. Moderation is spiritual discipline. The body is viewed as something to be governed. Hunger becomes a teacher. Resisting appetite strengthens the soul. Discomfort is meaningful. Monastic fasting practices are stricter. Meals are limited. Silence accompanies eating. Attention is inward. These practices model ideal restraint. Lay people do not follow monastic extremes, but the values filter outward. Self-control is admired. Excess is criticized. Food is linked to charity. Almsgiving includes bread. Feeding the poor is virtuous. Surplus gains moral purpose. Communities observe one another. Eating habits are visible. Reputation is shaped quietly. Food becomes social language. Meals during fasting periods are quieter. Conversation is limited. Attention shifts inward. The act of eating becomes contemplative. Fasting creates awareness. Hunger sharpens perception. Evening brings restraint. Sleep arrives with lightness. Fasting does not aim to punish. It aims to align. Body, soul, and time move together. In medieval Europe, to eat less is not to suffer. It is to participate in order. As the day ends, food no longer serves urgency. It serves closure. Night meals in medieval Europe are not celebrations. They are confirmations. A quiet acknowledgement that the day has been endured. Evening meals occur before full darkness. Light determines rhythm. Firewood is conserved. Work has already exhausted the body. The meal is simple, warm, and sufficient. Stews return. Bread reappears. Leftovers are welcomed. There is no expectation of variety. Familiar food brings calm. There is little formality. Hands move slowly. Voices are soft. Children eat quietly. Adults rest their bodies while chewing. The hearth burns lower. Embers glow. Heat is managed carefully. The fire is banked, not fed. Tomorrow requires fuel. Hunger fades. Fullness is gentle. There is no indulgence. This balance allows rest. Some households whisper prayers. Others sit in silence. Gratitude is habitual, not performative. Food has done its work. Utensils are rinsed. Pots are set aside. Doors are secured. Animals settle. The house grows quieter. Utensils are rinsed. Pots are set aside. Doors are secured. Animals settle. The house grows quieter. Darkness is complete. Without artificial light, the world withdraws. Awareness narrows. Thought slows. Tomorrow's meals will resemble today's. This repetition is comforting. It promises stability. Sleep completes the cycle. Food has sustained. Labor has passed. Rest is earned. In medieval Europe, the final meal of the day does not excite the senses. It calms them. And in this calm, sleep arrives naturally. Faith, rituals, and daily spiritual life. In medieval Europe, faith does not exist alongside daily life. It defines it. There is no clear boundary between spiritual and practical existence. Religion is not scheduled around the day. The day is scheduled around religion. Time is not abstract. It is sacred. Days are named by saints. Weeks are shaped by ritual. Years are measured by feast and fast. The calendar itself is theological. The most powerful sound in medieval life is not speech. It is the bell. Bells mark time. They call people to prayer. They signal work. They announce danger. They accompany death. When a bell rings, it is not ignored. Villages orient themselves toward the church. Paths lead to it. Homes face it. Life flows around it. The church is physical center and spiritual anchor. The liturgical calendar. The year unfolds through religious seasons. Advent, Christmas, Lent, Easter, ordinary time. These periods dictate mood, joy, restraint, reflection, celebration. Faith as mental framework. Faith offers explanation for illness, for disaster, for fortune. Nothing is random. Everything has meaning. Night and divine order. Night is not chaos. It belongs to God. Darkness has purpose. Sleep is not escape. It is submission to order. To live in medieval Europe is to live inside sacred time, daily prayer and the ordinary believer. For most medieval people, faith is not an idea they hold in the mind. It is a pattern they live inside. It is not learned from books. It is absorbed through repetition. Prayer is not a special act reserved for rare moments. It is woven into ordinary life, into waking, working, eating, traveling, and sleeping. Morning begins quietly, before the world is fully bright. Inside a small house, the air is cool. The fire is dim, the walls are darkened by years of smoke. Someone rises first, not always the same person, not always the same time, because life is not measured by minutes. A hand reaches for a cloak. Feet find the packed earth floor. The day begins with the simplest awareness. There will be work, there will be hunger, there will be weather, and there will be God. In many households, a short prayer is spoken softly. It may not be elaborate. It may be memorized. It may be the same words every morning, but it is not empty. Repetition in medieval life is not boredom. It is stability. Much medieval prayer is quiet. It happens without performance. There is no audience. Sometimes there is no kneeling. A person may pray while standing, while pulling on clothing, while stepping outside, while lifting a bucket, while touching the threshold of a doorway. These gestures are subtle, but they are meaningful because they are habitual. When people live with uncertainty of harvest, uncertainty of illness, uncertainty of winter, small rituals create calm. In towns and many villages, the bell shapes the day. The bell does not announce a modern time. It announces a shared moment. Even if a person cannot see the church from their home, they can hear it. That sound carries across roofs, across fields, across riverbanks. When the bell rings, it is as if the town briefly breathes in the same rhythm. Some people pause. Some make the sign of the cross. Some continue working but become inwardly quieter. It is not about stopping labor. It is about remembering that labor itself exists inside a larger order. The sign of the cross appears throughout the day, before eating, before leaving the house, when passing the church, when hearing sudden bad news, when a child cries from fever. These gestures are not dramatic. They are almost automatic. But the automatic becomes comforting. A familiar motion tells the mind, you are not alone. It is important to understand this clearly. Most medieval people are not theologians. They do not debate doctrine. They do not analyze sacred texts. They live faith as a practical presence. They know stories. They know saints' names. They know feast days. They know how to behave inside a church. They understand sin as a moral reality, and they understand forgiveness as a necessity. Religion is less about intellectual belief and more about participation. To believe is to belong. Food is never separate from faith. In medieval Europe, food arrives through labor and luck. Luck is not seen as random, it is seen as grace. A simple meal may begin with a short phrase of thanks. In wealthier households, prayers are longer. In poor households, the prayer may be a single line. But the intention is similar, to recognize dependence. And often, after the meal, there is another quiet moment. Not celebration. Closure. Sacred landscapes in ordinary places. The medieval world feels spiritually inhabited, not only by humans, by meaning. A crossroads may be marked with a small shrine. A spring may be treated with respect. A boundary stone may carry a carved cross. These are not monuments. They are reminders. They say, this land is watched, this life is measured, this world is not empty. Even when prayer is personal, it is rarely completely private. Life is lived close together. Neighbors hear neighbors. Families share space. A child learns prayer by hearing it, not by reading it. Words repeat. Tone repeats. Posture repeats. And this repetition forms identity. In modern life, identity can feel like something internal and chosen. In medieval life, identity is often external and inherited. And religion supports that structure. Going to church, an ordinary event. Church attendance varies by place and period, but the church remains central. People enter the building with certain behaviors. Voices soften. Movement slows. Hands may touch holy water. Eyes turn toward candlelight. The church interior is designed to shape emotion. Stone and shadow. Painted images. Carved saints. The smell of wax and incense. In a world of rough wood and smoke-filled rooms, church can feel like another kind of space. Not necessarily luxurious, but set apart. And because it is set apart, it becomes psychologically important. Many medieval people rely on images. Because literacy is limited, visual storytelling matters. An image of Mary, a painted scene of a saint, a carved crucifix. These are not decorations. They are anchors. They tell the believer, others have suffered, others have endured, others have been protected. Candlelight softens everything. Edges blur. Faces glow. The space feels calm. For a tired body, calm matters. Faith as an antidote to anxiety. In medieval life, anxiety has many sources. Winter can be harsh. Infection can arrive quickly. Child mortality is high. Work is heavy. Food can run short. These realities create a quiet background of worry. Faith does not remove hardship, but it offers a frame. It tells people that hardship can be meaningful. It tells them that suffering is not meaningless noise, and that frame can calm the mind enough to sleep. Prayer is not limited to morning and night. Short prayers appear throughout the day, when starting a task, when finishing a task, when someone passes a roadside cross, when the bell rings again. These prayers are not always spoken. Sometimes they are thought. Sometimes they are gestures. The repetition is what matters. Women, work, and quiet faith. Women's religious life is often deeply practical. They pray while working, while spinning, while stirring a pot, while washing cloth, while caring for children. They may know certain prayers by heart. They may whisper them under breath. Religion accompanies labor, not because life is poetic, but because labor is constant. When the hands are busy, the mind seeks steadiness. Children learn prayer the way they learn everything else, by imitation. They watch adults. They copy gestures. They repeat phrases. They learn when to be quiet. They learn when to stand. They learn what matters. Even if they do not understand the full meaning, they understand the feeling. And feelings are remembered. So, when we imagine medieval prayer, we should not imagine only dramatic cathedral scenes. We should imagine the small, repeated moments. A tired person pausing for a breath. A whispered line before a meal. A hand making a simple cross. A bell carrying over rooftops. A candle flickering in a window. A village living inside sacred time. Not loudly, not theatrically, but continuously. This is the ordinary believer's faith, steady, repetitive, and quietly sustaining. Rituals from birth to death. In medieval Europe, life is not marked by sudden turning points. It is marked by rituals. These rituals do not interrupt life. They guide it. From the moment a child enters the world to the moment a body is returned to the earth, each stage is accompanied by gestures, words, and expectations that give structure to uncertainty. Birth in medieval Europe is both ordinary and dangerous. Most children are born at home. The space is familiar. The conditions are not controlled. Midwives play a central role. They carry experience rather than formal training. They know how to recognize danger. They know how to calm fear. Birth is surrounded by prayer, not formal prayer, urgent prayer, prayers for survival, prayers for strength, prayers for the mother. Infant mortality is high. This knowledge is not abstract. It is lived. Because of this, baptism is urgent. If the child appears weak, baptism may happen immediately. Even a midwife may perform it in emergency. Water, words, a name. These elements matter. To be baptized is to be protected. Baptism is not only spiritual. It is social. It marks belonging. It introduces the child to the community. A name is given, often the name of a saint. This saint becomes a protector. Identity begins early. Childhood, learning through observation. Childhood is brief. Children are not shielded from life. They see illness. They see labor. They see death. They also see prayer. They learn rituals by watching. When to kneel. When to stand. When to be silent. Religion is absorbed, not explained. Marriage is a social ritual before it is a personal one. It organizes property. It stabilizes alliances. It ensures continuity. Church involvement formalizes the bond. Words are spoken publicly. Witnesses matter. Marriage becomes legitimate in the eyes of God and community. Marriage rituals blend sacred language with practical concerns. Blessings are offered. Fertility is implied. Stability is hoped for. The ritual does not promise happiness. It promises order. Daily life between rituals. Most of life unfolds between major ceremonies. These spaces are not empty. They are filled with minor rituals, crossing oneself, lighting candles, invoking saints. Life is surrounded by small acts of meaning. When illness arrives, it brings fear. Medical knowledge is limited. Treatment blends herbal practice with prayer. A sick person may be anointed. Neighbors may gather. Candles are lit. Words are spoken slowly. Hope exists alongside acceptance. Confession offers release. It addresses spiritual anxiety. Fear of death increases awareness of sin. To confess is to prepare, not dramatically, quietly. Death is not hidden. It occurs at home. Family and neighbors are present. The dying person may receive last rites. These rituals comfort the living as much as the dying. Words are familiar. The structure is reassuring. After death, the body remains. A vigil may be held. Candles burn. Prayers continue. Time slows. The boundary between life and death feels thin. Burial follows soon. The community gathers. The body is returned to the earth. Graves are simple. Markers may be temporary. Memory survives through prayer. To be remembered is to remain connected. Death is frequent. It is not romanticized. It is integrated. Faith provides language. Language provides calm. Continuity through ritual. These rituals do not eliminate pain. They frame it. They tell people how to move forward. They create continuity. Life proceeds. In medieval Europe, rituals do not make life predictable. They make it bearable. Community worship and collective identity. In medieval Europe, belief is rarely solitary. Faith is lived together. It is heard together. It is felt together. To belong to a community is to share its prayers, its rhythms, and its silences. A medieval village is not only a collection of homes. It is a shared moral space. People know one another's routines. They recognize absence. When someone does not appear, it is noticed. This visibility reinforces belonging, and belonging reinforces belief. When the bell rings, it does not call individuals. It calls the whole. Men pause in fields. Women lift their heads from work. Children grow quiet. The sound creates a shared moment. Even those who do not attend feel its presence. On communal worship days, people move toward the church. Paths converge. Groups form naturally. There is no rush. Church is expected. Inside, the space fills slowly. People stand close. Bodies share warmth. The collective presence is felt physically. The words spoken during services are familiar. They have been heard many times. People anticipate them. They know when to respond. They know when to be silent. This familiarity creates security. Even without full understanding, participation matters. Chant, song, and sound. Music plays a powerful role. Chants are slow. Melodies repeat. Voices blend. individual voices disappear into the whole. This loss of individuality is comforting. Sound becomes structure. Community worship reflects hierarchy. Positions are visible. Certain families stand closer. Others remain near entrances. This order is accepted. It mirrors daily life. Shared fear and shared comfort. Fear is communal. Plague, famine, storm. These events threaten everyone. Prayer becomes collective response. People gather. Candles multiply. Hope becomes shared. Occasionally, worship leaves the church. Processions move through streets. Symbols are carried. Roots are familiar. These acts bless space. They remind people that the divine surrounds them. Belief is reinforced not through argument, but repetition. Week after week, season after season, the body remembers. The mind relaxes into pattern. The social consequences of worship. Participation affects reputation. To attend is normal. To abstain invites notice. Belief and belonging intertwine. After worship, services end quietly. People exit slowly. Conversations are subdued. The shared experience lingers. Life resumes, but gently. Community as anchor. In a fragile world, community stabilizes. Faith provides common language. Common language creates cohesion. In medieval Europe, to worship together is to exist together. Faith is not only belief, it is collective identity. Saints, fear, comfort, and protection. In medieval Europe, fear is not abstract. It is present, immediate, and familiar. It lives in illness, in storms, in childbirth, in hunger, in the quiet uncertainty of tomorrow. Faith does not remove fear. It gives it a place to rest. Medieval life is fragile. People understand this without needing explanation. A minor wound can become fatal. A bad winter can erase stored food. A sudden fever can take a child in days. There is no illusion of control. Because of this, protection becomes essential. But protection is not technological. It is spiritual. Saints as accessible protectors. God is vast. Saints are close. This distinction matters. Saints are human. They suffered. They endured. They are understood. Each saint becomes a specialist of care. Protection is personalized. Saints in everyday life. A farmer may turn to one saint, a mother to another, a traveler to a different name. These choices are practical, not theological. People know which saint protects which danger. This knowledge circulates through story, not text. Images of saints appear everywhere, painted on walls, carved in wood, worn as small pendants, placed near beds, placed near doors. These images are not decorative. They are protective. To see a saint is to feel watched over. Fear and night. Fear intensifies at night. Darkness removes visibility. Sounds become ambiguous. The unknown feels closer. Night prayers become important. A candle near a saint's image calms the mind. Light becomes reassurance. Natural disasters and divine meaning. Storms are frightening. Lightning is terrifying. Floods destroy crops. These events are interpreted. They are not random. Saints are invoked for protection. Processions may follow disasters. Community prayer responds to fear. Objects of protection. Protective objects circulate widely. Relics. Blessed candles. Holy water. Small crosses. These items are carried, worn, or placed carefully. They create psychological safety. Fear managed through structure. Fear without structure overwhelms. Faith structures fear. It names danger. It assigns protection. It offers response. This reduces panic. Children and protection. Children are considered vulnerable. Saints are assigned to them. Parents pray quietly. Beds may be marked with symbols. These gestures are loving. They are habitual. Illness and saints. When illness appears, saints are invoked. Prayers repeat. Candles burn. Hope is expressed. Acceptance coexists with effort. Shared fear, shared comfort. Fear is rarely faced alone. Communities pray together. Stories of miracles circulate. These stories comfort. They remind people that protection is possible. Saints and sleep. Saints accompany sleep. Images near beds. Names whispered before rest. Sleep becomes less threatening. Dreams feel watched over. Faith does not promise safety. It promises meaning. And meaning allows endurance. In medieval Europe, saints stand between fear and despair. They do not eliminate danger. They soften its presence. Silence, night prayer and sleep. As night settles over medieval Europe, the world does not disappear. It quiets. Silence is not emptiness. It is presence without motion. In medieval life, night is not an extension of day. It is a different condition. Darkness removes detail. Shapes soften. Distances become uncertain. This uncertainty invites stillness. Activity slows not because people choose it, but because the world requires it. In medieval life, night is not an extension of day. It is a different condition. Darkness removes detail. Shapes soften. Distances become uncertain. This uncertainty invites stillness. Activity slows not because people choose it, but because the world requires it. Night prayers are brief. They are not dramatic. They are familiar. A few words. A gesture. A pause. They acknowledge vulnerability. They ask for rest. They release the day. Night demands surrender. There is no vigilance, no productivity, no correction. Sleep requires trust. Faith supports that trust. Without artificial light, there is little temptation to remain active. The body accepts rest. Some people kneel. Some sit. Some simply whisper. These prayers are not requests for success. They are requests for peace, to be spared fear, to wake again. Beds are simple. straw mattresses, shared blankets, bodies close together. Warmth matters. Privacy is minimal. This closeness reassures. The medieval mind does not race with endless information. It carries fewer images. Thoughts repeat familiar patterns. Stories, prayers, names. These repetitions calm. Dreams are considered significant. They are not dismissed. They may carry messages. They may reflect fears. Saints may appear. This belief softens dreams. Night becomes less threatening. Silence is protective. It limits intrusion. It slows the mind. It creates boundaries. In silence, fear weakens. Animals curl into sleep. Dogs lie near doors. Horses shift quietly. The village breathes together. This shared rest is powerful. Sleep is not escape. It is participation in divine order, in natural rhythm. To sleep is to trust that the world will continue. Tonight resembles last night, and tomorrow night will resemble tonight. This repetition is comforting. Stability comes from predictability. The day is complete. Labor has ended. Prayer has framed experience. Fear has been acknowledged. Rest is allowed. In medieval Europe, night is not feared. It is respected. And in this respect, sleep becomes sacred. Weather, nature, and the medieval senses. In medieval Europe, nature is not background. It is presence. It is felt before it is understood. It is listened to before it is explained. It is endured, respected, and quietly accepted. Rain is not an event. It is a condition. In medieval life, rain shapes everything. Fields soften. Paths darken. Clothing grows heavy. Work slows, but does not stop. There is no shelter from rain except patience. People learn the sound of it. Light rain on thatched roofs. Steady rain on packed earth. Heavy rain on wooden doors. These sounds are familiar. They do not alarm. They signal continuity. Morning mist is common. It rises from rivers. It clings to low ground. It blurs distance. In mist, the world feels smaller. Houses appear gradually. Trees emerge slowly. This softening calms the senses. Nothing demands immediate attention. Mist encourages slow movement. Wind is felt before it is seen. It carries cold. It carries moisture. It carries scent. In open fields, wind dictates posture. In villages, it moves smoke. People learn to work with it, not against it. Wind is not described. It is endured. Sunlight determines rhythm. There is no artificial extension of day. When light is strong, work expands. When light fades, work contracts. The sun does not rush. Neither do people. Each season has a character. Spring smells of wet soil. Summer smells of grass and heat. Autumn smells of decay and harvest. Winter smells of smoke and cold. These smells are not named. They are recognized. Smell is unavoidable. Wood smoke, animals, earth, food. These scents are not categorized as pleasant or unpleasant. They are familiar. Familiarity reduces anxiety. Wood is everywhere. Houses, tools, furniture, fire. Hands know wood. They know texture. They know weight. This tactile familiarity grounds the body. Fields are vast and repetitive. Rows repeat. Tasks repeat. The eye rests. The mind quiets. There is little visual noise. Birds mark time. Insects hum. Animals shift. These sounds are constant but gentle. They replace silence without disturbing it. The sky is observed. Clouds matter. Stars matter. The sky offers information. It also offers scale. Human concerns feel smaller. At night, nature withdraws. Sounds soften. Movement decreases. Darkness is complete. This completeness encourages surrender. The medieval body adapts to nature. There is no overstimulation. Repetition calms the nervous system. The body learns trust. Nature is not romanticized. It is accepted. There is no expectation of comfort. There is no expectation of change. This acceptance reduces resistance. Rain will return. Wind will return. Mist will return. These cycles are dependable. Dependability creates safety. In medieval Europe, nature does not demand attention. It receives it. And in this steady presence, the mind learns to rest. In medieval life, nothing dramatic is required for meaning to exist. Meaning grows from repetition. Days do not need to be different to be complete. They only need to arrive, and then pass. Morning does not surprise anyone. Light arrives gradually. The same sounds return. The same movements begin. There is no rush to interpret the day. There is no pressure to make it unique. The day begins because it always has. Time is not chased. It is not measured in minutes. It is sensed through light, through fatigue, through hunger, through sound. The medieval day moves forward without resistance. Tasks repeat. The same motions. The same tools. The same spaces. Hands remember what to do. The mind does not need to decide. This lack of decision brings rest. Objects do not change. A bench remains a bench. A bowl remains a bowl. A door opens the same way it always has. Familiarity reduces effort. The body relaxes into known shapes. Predictability is not boring. It is stabilizing. When tomorrow resembles today, anxiety has less room to grow. The unknown feels smaller. Repetition signals safety. If something repeats, it has survived. If it has survived, it can be trusted. This trust allows the nervous system to settle. Thoughts are fewer. They circle familiar themes: food, work, weather, rest. There is no endless comparison, no overload. The mind rests by returning. Evening always arrives. Light fades. Work slows. Voices lower. There is no decision to stop. The day releases itself. Sleep is not an interruption. It is continuation. The body does not fight it. It expects it. The same bed, the same blankets, the same quiet. Night does not change. Darkness is consistent. Silence is reliable. This reliability comforts. The unknown becomes predictable. Life does not need a story. It does not need climax. It does not need resolution. It moves, and that movement is enough. Things are accepted, not because they are understood, but because they are familiar. Acceptance is not resignation. It is peace. When days repeat, the body stops bracing. There is nothing to prepare for. There is nothing to optimize. There is nothing to rush. The body softens. Time becomes less noticeable. Hours dissolve. Days blur. What remains is presence. Quiet presence. Attention loosens. Details soften. Thought slows. Awareness narrows. There is no effort required. Morning will come again, and evening will follow, and night will return. This cycle has no urgency, no demand, no end. There is nothing to finish. There is nothing to solve. There is nothing to remember, only to rest. In medieval life, repetition is not emptiness. It is continuity, and continuity allows the mind to sleep. As this journey through medieval life slowly comes to rest, there is nothing more you need to hold. No dates to remember, no names to follow, no ideas to keep awake. Everything that needed to be present has already passed through. The medieval world does not end suddenly. It softens. Sounds become fewer. Images grow quieter. Details release their edges. The day has completed its arc. There is no forward movement now. No next chapter. No destination. Only stillness. Time loosens its shape. Minutes no longer matter. The same rhythms will return again. Morning, work, food, rest. These cycles have carried generations. They will continue without effort. There is nothing you need to maintain. Your body recognizes this pace. It responds naturally. Breathing slows. Muscles soften. There is no alertness required. Thoughts do not need direction. They may repeat. They may fade. They may disappear entirely. All of this is allowed. Sleep is not an ending. It is part of the same rhythm, the same quiet acceptance, the same gentle repetition. You are not leaving the world. You are simply resting within it. There is nothing to do, Nothing to prepare, nothing to remember. The night holds everything. Even as you rest, the world continues. Quietly, without urgency. You do not need to witness it. You do not need to participate. You are allowed to let go now. Awareness can loosen. Attention can fade. Sleep can arrive. There is no need to resist it. Sounds drift away. Words become distant. Meaning dissolves into calm. There is only rest. And so the day ends, not with conclusion, but with peace. This space remains safe. This rhythm remains steady. You can stay here as long as you need.